Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host, and legalized marijuana continues to be a topic of debate. In 2012, Colorado became the first state to legalize recreational pot, and now it wants to ban employers from firing workers for smoking off the clock. But some companies feel that getting stoned is bad for business. So DBL Nation, if marijuana is legal, should companies be able to fire people for getting high on their own time? Erica, girl, take it away.
Well, Eric from Facebook says, absolutely not. My employer does not get to control my actions or behavior when I'm not working. Eric, I agree with you. I'm glad that we're having this conversation because this has been a very recent thing. But I would have to question, if you're so concerned about people smoking marijuana, I've never heard of a ton of people having marijuana hangovers going to work, but I know a ton of people who have hangovers from alcohol. So I would really question where the productivity lies in terms of marijuana versus alcohol, which of course is socially acceptable.
Nick from Facebook says, I have a few problems with this. As a regular marijuana user, I don't believe it's a problem for people to use off hours, but I do have a problem with the government getting involved in who private business owners can hire and fire. Nick, I'm with you on this one. I think it's a company-to-company thing. If your boss says, hey, you could smoke weed, I don't mind if it's in your system. I just don't want you doing it during work hours. You can't drink during work hours. You shouldn't be able to smoke marijuana during work hours. But if it's something you do recreationally when you get home, I think it's fine.
All right, well said. Scott from Facebook says, for all the people against this, Nevada has had this in place for several months and the sky hasn't fallen. Okay. This would protect people who legally use cannabis in their free time. And Scott, we're going to start to see this more and more. I think we're well over half of the states where marijuana is legal. So unless you have a government job, it is up to the private employer. Now that employer has to say, well, I have to worry about my competition. Am I going to lose employees that would be potentially good candidates to hire because they have this in the system, but we're not testing for Jack Daniels? That employee could drink that in the car and roll into work. So which is better? Which employee do you want? That's up to the employer. So we'll see, and I think it'll play out. Capitalism has a way of doing that. You find the best employees, and if they happen to smoke marijuana in their spare time, I think if it increases your bottom line, people will be with it.
Just as an observer, I find this fascinating.
It's propaganda left over. It
just goes to show how powerful a stigma is and how powerful propaganda can be.
Reefer madness, all those things.
Absolutely, yes. And we're still dealing with it, considering how many people die or are put in really disastrous and horrible self-destructive situations from alcohol. But we don't hear those conversations. So to me, it's just absolutely mind-boggling.